It's 11 p.m. You're lying in bed. You've been awake since 6 a.m. You're tired enough to sleep for a week, and somehow you can't fall asleep. Or worse, you sleep 8 full hours, you wake up, and you feel completely destroyed. Meanwhile, somebody out there is running on 5 hours and talking about how great they feel. And you're asking yourself the same question everyone asks. What is wrong with me? Here's the answer. Nothing is wrong with you. Your sleep isn't broken. Your understanding of sleep is broken, and today we're going to fix that. Sleep is not one thing. It's not just being unconscious for a few hours. Your brain goes through a series of stages every single night, and those stages are wildly different from each other. Stage 1 is light sleep. You've just drifted off. Your body is starting to slow down. You can be woken up easily. This stage lasts only a few minutes. Stage 2 is deeper light sleep. Your body temperature drops. Your brain starts producing what scientists call sleep spindles, short bursts of brain activity. This is where you spend the most total time across the night. Stage 3 is deep sleep. This is the one that matters most for your body. Your muscles repair. Your immune system works. Growth hormone gets released. Your energy stores get refilled. If you skip this stage, or it's too short, you wake up feeling physically exhausted, even if you slept for 9 hours. Then comes REM, rapid eye movement. This is where your brain recovers. This is where you dream. And this is where your brain processes everything that happened during the day. Memories get sorted and stored. Emotions get processed. Creativity and problem solving happens here. If your REM is cut short, you wake up foggy, slow, emotionally flat, unable to focus. Now here's the key point. Your brain doesn't go through these stages once. It cycles through them every 90 minutes, all night long. And each cycle is not identical. In the early cycles, deep sleep dominates. In the later cycles, REM dominates. This means something crucial. If you cut your sleep short by even 1 hour, you're mostly cutting REM sleep, because REM is concentrated at the end of the night. That's why sleeping 6 hours instead of 7 doesn't just make you slightly tired. It makes your brain work significantly worse. So why do some people genuinely feel fine on 5 or 6 hours? Science has an answer for this, and it's not willpower. It's genetics. There is a rare gene mutation called ADRB1. People who carry it naturally sleep less. They feel fully rested on 4 to 6 hours. They go to bed late, they wake up early. They're fine. Researchers at UC San Francisco identified this mutation in 2019. It affects less than 3% of the population. 3%. So if someone tells you they thrive on 4 hours of sleep, there are 2 possibilities. 1, they're in that 3%. 2, they're wrong about how well they're actually functioning. Studies show that people who are chronically sleep deprived lose the ability to accurately assess how impaired they are. You stop noticing how bad you feel, because that's your new normal. So if we can't sleep less, what can we actually do? This is where it gets interesting, because the problem for most people isn't the length of their sleep, it's the quality. You can sleep 9 hours and get terrible quality sleep. You can sleep 6 hours and get excellent quality sleep. Here's what destroys sleep quality, and most people don't know they're doing it. Number 1, alcohol. Many people drink to fall asleep, and alcohol does help you fall asleep faster. But here's what it does to your sleep architecture. It suppresses REM sleep, especially in the first half of the night. You fall asleep quickly. Your body processes the alcohol. Then in the second half of the night, your brain bounces back hard. More awakenings, lighter sleep, less REM. You wake up feeling unrested, even if you slept 8 hours. That morning grogginess after drinking, that's not the alcohol directly, that's REM deprivation. Number 2, your phone. Not because of blue light, that's been overstated. The real issue is mental activation. When you scroll through content, anything emotionally engaging, interesting, funny, or frustrating, your brain enters an alert state. Your amygdala activates. Cortisol levels rise slightly. Your nervous system is now awake and interested. And that state doesn't disappear the moment you put the phone down. It lingers for 20 to 30 minutes. So the real damage isn't the light. It's that you've convinced your brain something interesting is happening right now. And sleep doesn't happen when your brain thinks something interesting is happening. Number 3, inconsistent sleep timing. This one is underrated. Your body has an internal clock called the circadian rhythm. It controls when melatonin is released, when your body temperature drops, when sleep pressure peaks. When you go to bed at wildly different times each night, even by an hour or two, you confuse this system. Your melatonin release gets mistimed. Your body temperature doesn't drop at the right moment. Your deep sleep is lighter and shorter. This is called social jet lag. And research shows that even people who get enough total hours of sleep, if their timing is inconsistent, show measurable cognitive impairment during the day. Same effect as actual jet lag, without ever leaving your city. Now let's talk about what actually works. Not hacks, not tricks, just the science. First, timing. Pick a wake time and commit to it. Not a bedtime, a wake time. Every single day, including weekends. Your circadian rhythm anchors to your wake time much more strongly than your sleep time. If you always wake up at the same time, your body starts preparing for sleep at the right time automatically. Your melatonin releases on schedule. Your sleep pressure builds correctly, and your sleep quality improves, even before you change anything else. This is the single most impactful change most people can make. It costs nothing. It requires no supplements, no equipment, just consistency. Second, temperature. Your body needs to drop its core temperature by about 1 degree Celsius to initiate deep sleep. This is why you can't sleep when you're too hot. The optimal bedroom temperature for sleep is between 16 and 19 degrees Celsius. Cold showers before bed have a paradoxical effect. They briefly cool the skin, which then triggers the body to warm back up, which then drops core temperature faster. Some research supports this. Others find it too activating. Test it yourself. Third, light in the morning. Within 30 minutes of waking up, get bright light into your eyes. Ideally sunlight. Minimum 10 minutes. This does two things. It suppresses residual melatonin, helping you fully wake up, and it sets your circadian clock for that day, which means your melatonin will release at the right time tonight. Morning light is essentially programming tomorrow night's sleep. Most people optimize the hour before bed. They should be optimizing the hour after waking up. Fourth, the 90-minute rule. Your sleep cycles are approximately 90 minutes long. Waking up in the middle of a cycle, especially deep sleep, causes sleep inertia. That heavy, confused feeling that lasts for 30 to 60 minutes after waking. Waking up near the end of a cycle, in light sleep or early REM, feels dramatically better. You can use this. Count backwards from your target wake time in 90-minute increments. If you need to wake at 6:30 a.m., you want to be asleep at 11 p.m., or 12:30 a.m., or 2 a.m., not 11:30 p.m., not 1 a.m. The timing matters. Fifth, the hour before bed is not about avoiding things. It's about actively downregulating your nervous system. Your nervous system has two modes: sympathetic, fight or flight; alert, active, stressed; parasympathetic, rest and digest; calm, safe, ready for sleep. Most people spend their entire evening in sympathetic mode: work, screens, stress, stimulation. And then they expect to fall into deep sleep the moment they lie down. That's not how the nervous system works. It takes 20 to 30 minutes to shift between modes. So the goal of the hour before bed is to actively shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic. What works? Dim lights. Your brain interprets dim light as evening. Slow, steady breathing. Even 5 minutes of slow exhales activates the vagus nerve and shifts you toward parasympathetic. Writing down tomorrow's tasks. This sounds counterintuitive, but research from Baylor University found that writing a to-do list for tomorrow, before bed, helped people fall asleep significantly faster. Because the open loops in your brain, the unfinished tasks, create background anxiety that keeps your nervous system alert. Writing them down closes those loops. Your brain stops monitoring them, and sleep comes easier. One more thing. This is the part people don't want to hear. You cannot catch up on sleep. There is no sleep bank. Sleeping 11 hours on Sunday does not undo the sleep debt from Monday through Friday. It helps slightly, but the cognitive damage from sleep deprivation during the week has already happened. Decisions you made, things you missed, reactions that were slower. They're done. The research on this is very clear. You can recover some of the physical effects of sleep deprivation with extra sleep, but the neurological effects, focus, memory consolidation, emotional regulation, those cannot be fully recovered retroactively. This is not to make you feel bad. It's to make you take tonight seriously, not next weekend, tonight. So here is the complete picture. You don't need more total sleep. You need more efficient sleep. Fix your wake time first. Control your bedroom temperature. Get morning light. Count your cycles. Down-regulate before bed. These aren't life hacks. They're just the conditions your brain was designed to sleep under. For most of human history, these conditions existed automatically. Dark at night, light in the morning, consistent rhythms. Modern life broke all of them. You're just putting them back. All sources for this video are in the description below. And here's a question. What's the one sleep habit you know you should fix but keep ignoring? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. Subscribe to Science, where complicated things get explained simply.